Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. It is the 13th of March. This year is flying by. I just got back from a fantastic vacation, much needed rest. It was all about, for me, I got to fix this microphone here. It was all about, for me, it was about vision building. I took 8 other entrepreneurs to a trip to beautiful Costa Rica during a festival called Envision Festival, which was absolutely incredible. It was so incredible to experience the act of being intentional with what I'm going to do, what I want to become, and what I want to do with my life. And it was so helpful to do with other people. Because so often when you are sitting down to do goal setting, you really have to be very intentional of what you are going to create because it may become true. And I wanted to tell you this little story here because several years ago, many years ago, when I say many, how many was it? It was probably around 7 years ago. I really wanted to get really intentional with my life, and I decided to implement this system called EOS, which stands for Entrepreneur Operating System, which I am an implementer for. And I had 3 goals I needed to do. I was in a place in my life where things weren't working. My marriage wasn't doing well, wasn't making a lot of money. And I wanted to be super intentional on how I crafted my life. And I wanted to save my marriage, move to Costa Rica, and I wanted to grow to 100 million in sales from 10 million. And all of those things came true, but I was not aware of the unintended consequences of focusing on the latter. You know, we scaled 10 times the business, which means we had to have a lot of people. We had to hire a lot of people, have a lot of locations, and we had so many things that happened that really, at the end of the day, I would not look back and go, I'm glad I did it. I'm more satisfied that I lived through it than achieving the goal. And what was really enlightening for me, I'm in Costa Rica this last week and sitting down with some really close friends of mine. And we're having some deep conversations about what we want out of our lives. And what came out of that was someone mentioned the 12 regrets of the dying. And it was basically these 12 regrets that people express before they pass on. And this is a book was written by some hospice nurses that really was very powerful for me to receive and listen to, because it's nothing about the money. You know, if you were to ask yourself, who should you listen to for success advice? Do you listen to a successful person that deems successful because maybe they make a lot of money or have pristine, right? Or a person that is leaving Earth and it's their last moments? Who should you listen to? And it really made me think about those 12 regrets, because a lot of it is just super important. Like, they regret not spending more time with their friends and family. Gosh, that's a good one. They regret not living up to their full potential, but it added a lot of color into the design of my future and that I'm working on. And I just wanted to share that with you. We must all take a moment in time to ask ourselves, why are we doing what we're doing? Are we setting the right intention for our work and going about it in the right way? And I got to do that, and it was super awesome. I'm super jazzed up and excited for what is to come. But today, we're going to be talking about crafting a daily routine for crushing your sales. I do this to have you guys take a moment and really think about how you are going about your daily routine. Now, if you could take a moment and get a pen and paper, I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you some suggestions. I'm going to give you something that I hope that you take with you on the rest of your week that you could incorporate. You know, I do this exercise with you for two reasons. One, I want to learn. And two, I want to teach because it then therefore helps me learn as well. And I hope at the end of the day, my number one reason for doing all this stuff is to support my salespeople that use our app in CallProof to do their daily activities. We do the best we can do to make the best software we can so you can track and manage your customers and your daily activities. But I hope to be, I'm going to allow somebody to record this. I hope to be some inspiration in that we can do what we do a little bit differently every single day. Every single week, we're building onto skills. We are building on some knowledge that as we progress week after week, we grow, we learn, and we figure out what's not working and what is working. And one of the things that I learned early on in the sales game is the salespeople that were doing the best had a good routine. Now, everyone, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have the best routine because I don't. I only teach the things that I know I need to work on. But I do understand how important it is for you to understand what your routine is going to look like for you because it's going to be different. Okay, there is a perfect routine for you, but many people don't spend enough time crafting what that routine would look like for you, for the ideal you. And that is going to be something like a lot of experimentation. You need to treat it like you're a scientist and you're trying to do an experiment. You have a hypothesis, what would work, and you have to try many different things in order to land in the right spot. And to me, and I hope you guys also agree, this has nothing to do with us working hard. This is about us working smart. Because when you go about your day, not swimming against the stream, swimming with it, things tend to just happen for you. When we are going about our day with a resistance mindset, meaning we're fighting lots of different things, it's wasting a lot of your energy. Your energy should just be flowing naturally, and a lot of it has to do with how we prep our energy even before the day even begins. That's why I always recommend that people find time in their week before their week begins. And I would often say this is a good Sunday. You know, I have my own routines for my self-care on the weekends. And I have developed this over time, and I figured out kind of what works for me. And I know I will have an excellent week if I had designed what the week should look like up front. When I go into the week rushing and trying to do all these things without even knowing what I want to do for the week, it makes the week hard for all of us. And so being able to look at your week before the week begins, spend your time on paper before it begins, just like Dave Ramsey would with your money. You want to do the same thing with your time. You have X amount of time that you have an opportunity to take advantage of and leverage. And so you have to put it on paper. I did another teaching series on time blocking, which is an excellent way to identify what time you're going to use on your calendar up front. But this is in terms of looking at the whole week. What do I want to accomplish? What is necessary for that to happen? And then just put it on paper somewhere that you can look at. Now, before we even start the day, we must understand the equation of life in terms of your sleep. So tomorrow is going to be the best possible day most of the time when you've gotten the best amount of sleep. So that means I have to prepare for Monday Sunday night. When do I go to bed? When is that ideal time for you to go to sleep? People tend to stay into good routines, but if you have a very wonky kind of schedule in terms of when you go to bed and when you wake up, consider that. And there's a lot of components of when you're going to bed, a lot of components in just your general day in general on how you design sleep. But the act of sleeping, understand this fact, it equals your energy. All we are balls of energy. That's all we are. We wake up as a ball of energy. And through the day, our energy will our light doesn't shine as bright in the evening as it does, say, in the morning. And so in order to manufacture the proper amount of energy, it means a lot of things, even beyond sleep. It's what we're eating. It's all of those things. But let's practice our ideal wake time and get committed to it. You may even try to experiment. I'm going to try to go to bed maybe 9:30, and I'm going to try to wake up at 5:30, or I'll wake up at 6. Play around with those, because there's a lot of nuance in the way you fall asleep and how you fall asleep, whether you're looking at your phone, whether you're watching TV, whether you're doing something like playing video games before you go to bed. That's going to make it challenging for your mind to relax and actually go to sleep. But the ideal routine is going to equal your happiness. It's going to equal your pleasure of the day and how you go about things that you have to do and that you know you need to do. So I have a couple of modalities that I focus on for me, and everyone has their own thing. A couple of things you could practice is there's plenty of videos on breath work. I have found, you hear a lot of people say, well, meditation is hard. I can't meditate more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I will tell you, the act of breath work, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube. If you look up Soma breath work, Wim Hof, there's lots of different breath work type style videos for you to consume and consider. But I'll add to it, the reason I like breath work versus meditation, for a lot of people, they struggle with meditating. And the reason they struggle with it is because of their phone, because they're constantly doing different tasks. They're called task switching, which is you're trying to do many different things. And you're on social media, you're making a phone call, you're always on your device, and you're basically programming your mind to do many different things. And it does it pretty poorly, might I add. But the act of doing some breath work, it allows you to, depending on what kind of breath work you do, to kind of either speed up your heart rate to have some energy, or slow down your heart rate so you can meditate and kind of be in an open space where you're not having to think about anything. And I love the guided ones a lot. Also, cold showers. I could not tell you how amazing a cold shower is if you got in the habit of it. I've started this new thing here recently. I just got a sauna at the house, and I do the sauna and then a cold shower. And it's amazing. It's better than coffee, and it feels absolutely reinvigorating. But any of these things you can do at home. You don't need anything fancy. Heck, everybody's got cold water, hopefully, at your house. And it's a great exercise to incorporate into your day. Take anything that you want to add here, have some kind of some way to document these things. As you go into your week, think of one thing that you could add to your world. Maybe it's just a cold shower. I'm going to try cold showers for a week, and I'm going to document my levels of energy throughout the day. All of this is trying to find what is your peak performance and what's going to give you the right edge in your day so it feels natural. One of the things that I've learned, that I've started to learn with sales, is if you want to be in a place where you really connect with people, the way you really connect with people is to be able to connect with yourself first. understand that you are this ball of energy. And if you go about your morning in your day before you ever meet anyone, you want to be completely centered in who you are and how you come across to other people. And sometimes we get so caught up in our heads that we're not with a customer. And when I say caught up in our heads, have you ever been with a customer and they're talking to you and they've finished talking and you were so caught up in your head what you're about to say that you've forgotten, you have them repeat themselves? Well, that's being caught up in our own minds. And that's why it's really good to spend your time in the morning trying to get your head space clear so you can spend good energy with people and share together when you are working out with your clients. I'm always going to recommend exercise or some kind of walk stuff. I've just started this for me is I used to work out every morning at 5:30, and I've just changed all that. I've changed all that to work out later in the afternoons because I've noticed that I am most productive in the morning. And some of you may have that same feeling, but some of you may also say you're most productive in the afternoon. Wherever you are most productive, that's the time and energy you spend with clients. That's the time and energy you spend with prospecting. That is the best use of that energy during the workday, right? Now, I'm not saying that you want to have energy with your family. I'm not saying those things. All these types of things that I'm sharing with you, doing breath work, if you're in a low space of energy and you need to pick up the energy, you may want to do a breath work exercise on YouTube right before you spend time with your family. You may want to do that when you're trying to decompress for the day. Just understand there's these tools that are out there for you. And if you were to write down these tools on a piece of paper and really study them for you, try this 4 or 5 times in a row, right? When you try something, you just don't do it once. These are like reps. When I talk about breath work, or I talk about routines, or I talk about even doing time blocking, in order for you to be successful at it, you got to do it more than once. Just like exercise, you couldn't, if you've never done push-ups before, you can't just go do some push-ups and say, oh, I've tried push-ups that don't work. No, these are reps you have to do on the regular. And so having these routines so you can have the time and energy to spend on yourself before you start doing your actual work. So it's more quality than just quantity, because so much of the sales dogma that's taught out there is all about, the number of calls. It's about the quantity of them, and you're going to run into something. But I kind of believe a little bit differently is if we get our psyche right and we have the right amount of positive energy, we're going to maximize any opportunity we have with people, and we're going to maximize the quality of our interactions, which is far better than just doing a lot of stuff for stuff's sake. Now, I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about this again. I use a thing called the Oak Journal, and I strongly recommend that you have some kind of daily journal. The reason I like this journal for me is the best practices. This is tons of studies have proven this, that when you wake up, wake up refreshed before you open up your phone and do anything like that, spend some moments of gratitude. 3 things that you're thankful for. Now, I use a journal to do this, and you can take a piece of paper, folks. This is not rocket science. But when you're doing your journaling, you're also coming up, what is your vision for the day? What exactly do you want to have happen in your day? And so putting that in a journal, having that in there for you is going to help clear your mind on what is possible, what you want to do. Now, also, breakfast foods, I tell everyone to, listen, take a moment every single day and absolutely figure out for yourself if some kind of breakfast food is necessary for you or not. Practice many things. I went through a period of time where I did some fasting. And what I noticed with the fasting is my energy was was far better than anything else I've ever done when I did fasting. But I also noticed I got a little agitated. But you got to journalize this stuff. You got to keep up with what's working in your life and what's not. I mean, imagine this for a second. If you spent 2 months working intensively on modifying your routine, this week trying this week trying that, and then getting to a point where you have a really good routine, and then maybe doing slight modifications throughout the year, you're going to notice you're going to be far happier, and things are going to naturally just happen for you versus things that you're just trying to always fight for. And having those ups and downs, right? We all have these highs and lows in our lives, but understand that you are the controller of those highs and lows. You've created all the good and you've created all the bad. So why don't you spend the ideal amount of time focusing on your routine and getting it right that's right for you? Now, this one I always keep talking about, and that is stay away from social media, news, those kind of things before your day begins. Because when you do those things, you're going to let the negative energy or the worries or the fears. I don't know if you guys saw what happened in the news this weekend. I'm not even talking about it because I don't know what's happening. And it's way more beautiful because this is the fact is I can't control something out of my control. I control how I feel. And a lot of that is how I go about in my day. And that's why I talk to my family. I talk to my family about how I go about and want to go about my day. And so this is an exercise that I'll ask that you do with your family. Okay. I want you to think for a moment. How many times have you gotten your day started? You're ready to have a kick butt day. And right before you leave the house, your spouse gives you some heavy news. Or maybe it's a negative thing that you did. Or maybe they are on to you for something you've done. Or maybe there is a heavy thing that they're going to talk to you and you're going to have to go out and start selling for the day. How does that affect your paycheck when your mind is not in the right place? Our spouses have no idea what it's like to do what we do. They don't know what it's like to have rejection. They don't know what it's like to have the pressure of sales, right? They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like. That's why it's up to you to tell them what it's like, because it is stressful. And if you explain it in a way to say, listen, baby, when you hit me with these big, hairy, negative conversations right before I leave the house and I need to go and sell, the only thing I have to sell is my energy. And I will tell you, if you are a salesperson out there right now and the customers really like you, they like your energy. That's what they like about you. Yeah, you may have a brilliant personality or a winning smile, but at the end of the day, all that is energy. And that's what they like. And it's so easy to let something seep into our subconscious that will drain that energy. And so you're no longer able to bring it. And so I like to talk to, I'll tell my wife all the time and say, listen, I can't have anything negative in the morning because I have this big appointment tomorrow. I just want to be in the right frame of mind. I want to be excited about my day, and hit me with it as soon as we get done at the end of the day. Because guess what? It's not going to affect our paycheck at the end of the day, but it absolutely will affect it in the morning. And that also goes for sales managers here. You know, I know a lot of people that get on these calls are sales coaches, and they're also sales managers that have a team to lead. Don't hit your team with heavy negative things before they start their day. Always put that at the end of the day, after the appointments, after the calls that have been made. Focus on that. You're going to see that the energy is right for maximizing your sales day. Now, let me talk about this new thing that I will be spending some more time on. And, I've talked a lot about breath work, but I want to tell you about something called the gamma mindset. And it's a little trick that my coach has been teaching me. And I don't know if you know this. I think a lot of you know this, that the highest emotion in frequency there is basically love. And you have peace and joy that are kind of in the same realm. And I never knew this before, but I always had a weird association of love. And my coach had me think of a time that I felt joy and love in the past, like a memory. And he had me kind of take a deep breath and then relax and close my eyes. And he's like, I want you to imagine this past memory that made you feel loved or joy or happiness. And for me, it is playing in the pool with my two sons. And I can imagine this feeling, and I can go about feeling that emotion. And I had never realized before that I could conjure that emotion within me from just remembering a past memory, an experience, and then adding color to that experience. Thinking about the sky, the sun shining on me, or the water splashing, or my sons laughing and giggling. All those things make that feeling of emotion of love powerful. Why am I talking about love in a sales call, right? Why am I talking about love with you, other sales team members? I'll tell you why. Because you can conjure that feeling of love and joy from a past experience by closing your eyes before you walk into a meeting, and you can literally feel love inside of your mind. And literally, when you open your eyes, you will have this sensation of love. And you can use this in interactions. You can use this the way you listen to people. And imagine for a moment if instead of trying to just battle through your day, you just felt this love throughout your day, and that you want to spread love in the interactions. The people that you will come across, the people that you will meet, if you do this practice like I'm explaining to you, and this is just like any other practice. Practice isn't once, it's many times. Use this practice 10 minutes, closing your eyes, imagining a past memory, feeling love, and holding on to that, and then going about your day and bringing that in. Whenever you're about to do something, think about that that mental imagery and just kind of bring it so you have it with you. It's this frequency that we all have the ability to live in a certain frequency. And there's a lot of content online about this, but I'm going to be sharing more about this concept because what I have learned over the last month, I've been doing it. I've had tremendous doors open up for me. I've had connections with people I've never had before because I'm open to this. I'm open to leaning into a new skill for me. This is a new skill that I'm practicing, and it's been very helpful with whether going into a presentation, when I'm going just to have dinner with my family or friends, bringing that feeling, this emotional frequency of love into my day-to-day. That's where we need to be when we work on a routine. We need to find out what that is that powers us through the interactions with everyone that we correspond with in our day-to-day. Listen, thank you for your time today. Floor's open. If you got any questions about CallProof, I'm not sure. I haven't been paying attention to the chat here, I see. There's a chat here. But Anything that you need with CallProof, you can reach out to support@callproof.com. We have some new updates coming in the new app in the next 2 weeks. Lots of things coming. We'll be sending out an email, hopefully beginning of next week, to recap what those are going to be. But thanks for watching and have a fantastic rest of the week.